Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so today I'm going to do something interesting, different than what I've done before. Um, I talked to some of my friends who does who works at companies as data scientists. And he told me that it would be nice to do projects that you came up with to solve your own problems. And I have some problems, okay? Um, I have this hobby, cigar smoking. I like cigars and I like to find good ones. So I'm in this cigar club, Privada Cigar Club, which is a really good club. And they send you cigars. I don't want this to be a cigar ad, but this is YouTube, right? We can talk about anything. Um, so they send you cigars, um, 3 cigars per month. It's a monthly box. And this way, um, you discover no cigars. If you don't know much about cigars, and if you want to taste as much cigars as you want, develop your palate. So this is a good service and they do a great job. So the thing is, I've been doing this for like a year now, maybe a little bit less than a year, maybe a year, maybe slightly more anyways. So now I know that there are some cigars that I really like. The problem is it's hard to find which one you like next. So I know the cigars that I like. For example, this is an awesome cigar. This Batista. Um, and then this is an awesome cigar. And then and then I guess that was mediocre. Um, this one was not my type. This one is awesome cigar. Anyway, so I know what I like. Okay, but the other day I was reading, reviews, trying to find the ones I like or guess what I might like. And um I picked one and then I was about to buy and then I thought, wait, I might have this from the one of the monthly boxes. I found it in my humidor. I smoked it and it was really bad. It might be just that one cigar, the construction might be bad, but anyways, so then I came up with this idea. What if I scrape, well, so I know the cigars I like, right? I have this validation set, basically. And there are a lot of cigars here, which, I have to go in, read um, all the, writing, all the reviews, etc. And then some of the reviews might help, some of them might not. And I have to do this often as people add more cigars, as reviews kept renewed, etc. So I came up with this idea. What if I scrape all this information, I get the necessary ones, and then I build a model. I give it the cigars I like, and then I train this model, maybe an NLP model or something like that, maybe you know, a simpler model, something. And then for me, it reads all the reviews, looks for those, you know, and you when you train this model, it will probably look for those words that are like um, um, maybe those, if those words appear more in this review, and if the price is in my range, um, and if there are different things, different variables for cigars, like the wrapper, the leaves used in the tobacco, etc. Like if all criteria are satisfied, maybe it can recommend me a new cigar. You get the idea? So basically this. So I want to build something like this, and I almost know nothing. So like if I break it down, if I break the project down in my head, I have to first scrape data from the website, which I don't know. Second, I have to arrange the data. That's something I can do. Oh, there's something I know. And then you have to um, build a model and then test the model. That's machine learning, NLP probably. I don't know yet. That's another thing. So that means that's a lot of learning. That's something I can do. That's a fun project to me. So let's do it. So I'm starting with learning beautiful soup and scraping data from this website. That's the first thing to learn. So today I'm starting with that, with this video.
Allow you to gather any information you want from any website you want. Okay, so this website could be your bank account, could be a job post website like LinkedIn, this could be Wikipedia or a sports website, and really anything that you can think about. So we will start by scraping a basic HTML page first, just to understand the concepts, and then we will move on to scraping a real website. And by the last 15 to 20 minutes of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can store the information that we have just pulled from this website. So let's begin.
You want to be a software engineer, right? Go to elboacademy.com. Pick a question. Read the statement.
At least not now.
Great. So this is the web page that we are going to start web scraping. And I'm going to explain what is going on here. So you can see that we are having a basic title, and then we are having a kind of 3 paragraphs. So you can see that we have a title of Python.
Is this something?
And then we have a kind of secondary title, and then there is a basic explanation about the course itself, and then we are having a button that says start, that will probably lead us to a different page if we click on it. And then you can see that it has the price here as well. Now we are kind of repeating ourselves 3 times here, and this is what is responsible to that web development paragraph, and then also for that machine learning paragraph. Now, what we are currently looking at, it is basically the behind the scenes of that page. So this is the HTML code that is defined in order to show you that Hello Start Learning page. And you can see that inside our HTML documents, all of the code is being created with tags. Now, those tags are what are responsible to display different information for you. And you can see that we have a big tag that is called HTML. And then inside of that HTML tag, we are having a head tag and then a body tag. Now, you can see that we are defining a closure for each of our tags with the / here. And then you are probably going to see that for the different tags as well. Now, let's expand the head tag here. And then inside of it, we are seeing some meta information that is not quite relevant for us. But we see that link tag, which is responsible to import some styling for our page. And then we can see that title tag, which is responsible to customize our tab name. And that is why you see my courses over here. Now I will close back the head, and then I will expand the body. So the body is responsible to display what is going to be on the page itself. It is the page's body. And you can see that we already have the H1 tag that is created here. And then between the closure, which is the area that you can write the text for that tag, we see the hello, comma, start learning. And then we are having some div tags here. And when you see the tag of div, this is the very basic tag that will create some tags in different stylings. So you see here the class equals card. What this attribute assigning does here, it is importing the card styling, and that is why you see the kind of carding style for each of our paragraphs over that page. And you can see that we are having one more div inside that card class, which is called card header. So this is the styling for card header. This is why it is called that way. And then the text is Python. And then we have the card body, and we have the H5 tag, which is a kind of smaller header that you can display. And if I scroll right here, you can see that Python for beginners text, and then the closure for H5 tag. And we are having a paragraph, and then the A tag, which is allowing us to lead to another page. So when you see the A tag, it is basically a reference to another page that you can visit. Now, this entire code that I'm currently marking, let's actually make our page a bigger here. This entire code that I just marked is kind of repeated 3 times, and that is why we see the page that we saw previously. Okay, so it is quite important to understand, and we are going to scrape that page and pull some information with the Beautiful Soup library. Now, if you are confused with the script tags here, don't, because those tags are responsible to import some JavaScript libraries, and that is something not relevant for us right now. Okay, so we are going to switch to Python now in order to apply some basic scraping for that page. So I will go and start working on my main.py file, and you can see that nothing is here. Now, before we actually start, we have to install some libraries, and one of them will be the Beautiful Soup. So I will open my terminal, and since I'm working with my system global interpreter, I will allow myself to install it over here. And I will go here and write pip install, and then we will write here Beautiful Soup 4. So make sure that everything is not spaced or not splitted with dashes. And then I'm going to hit enter. And then you can see that it is installed successfully. And then the next thing that I want to install will be something that is going to be used from the Beautiful Soup library, and that is the parser method. So when you work with Beautiful Soup, you have to specify the method that you are going to parse HTML files into Python objects. Okay, so there are going to be different methods to parse your HTML code, and I heard that the best of them could be the LXML parser, since if you work with the default HTML parser, it is not going to deal well with broken HTML code. So just go ahead and install the LXML parser library, and you can also do that with pip install, and then we are going to use that when we work with the Beautiful Soup. So I will go here and then write pip install LXML. And then once I do that, let's wait until it's finished. Great. So we are ready now to go back to Python and start working with the Beautiful Soup library. Now we have to go here and import that Beautiful Soup library. So it could be a little bit confusing because the libraries folder is created as bs4. So that is why we are going to write here from bs4 import Beautiful Soup like this. And once I have done that, I have to figure out how I'm going to access the content inside the home.html file that is right there inside my web scraping directory. So in order to do that, we have to work with file objects. Now, if you don't know how to work with files in Python, that is totally fine because we are going to go over it. And it also might be worth to check my channel out if I have already uploaded how to work with files in Python. So I'm going to write here with open. So this is basically a statement that will allow me to open a file and then read the content of that specific file. So as you can see from the auto completion, I have to specify.
What did he say the files?
As my first argument the file's name. So I'm going to close the parentheses here. And then inside here, I'm going to write my HTML file's name. Now, since the Python file and then the home.html file are in the same exact directory, it will be okay just to write its name. So it will be home.html. And the second argument will be the method that you want to apply when you open that file in that Python's memory. So you have a couple of options when you work with Python files. You can read them, you can write them, or you can do both. And if we only want to read the content, then we somehow want to specify that we only want to read this file. So we will open here a new string and we will write here R. So what this tells to Python is basically that I'm going to read that file only. And once I have done that, I have to write here a variable that is going to be used inside that code block that I just created, which is the with open. So I'm going to use the as keyword, and then I'm going to create here a variable name that is going to be used throughout the block of the open. So it will be HTML underscore file, and that will be basically my variable name. And then once I do that, I will go inside the open block, and then I will write here content equals to HTML file dot read. And once I apply the read method, I'm basically reading the HTML file content. And in order to show you how this works, let's first print the content itself. So I will go here and print the content, and then I will run out the main.py. And then you can see that the information that is printed is exactly what we saw in the home.html. Okay, so we kind of did a great job reading this file. Now, in my future episodes, we are going to read HTML files from real websites, but I want to give you an idea of how web scraping works in a very basic way, because when you work with actual websites, the scraping and the information pulling is going to be quite harder than the HTML file that I just have written in order to explain the idea of web scraping. Okay, so I'm going to continue on here, and I'm going to use the Beautiful Soup library in order to prettify my HTML and work with its tags like Python objects. So the way you can accomplish that will be by creating an instance of Beautiful Soup. And I will go here and create a new variable. Let's call it soup. And that is going to be equal to a new instance of the Beautiful Soup library. Now, the arguments that I'm going to specify here will be the HTML file that I want to scrape. So the content of that will be the content variable that is created up above. And then the second argument will be the parser method that we want to use. So we will pass the parser method as string, and that will be the LXML that we have just installed previously. Now, once I go ahead and try to print what is inside that soup instance, it will be something like the following. So we will create here a print statement, and then we will go with soup.prettify. So that will allow you to see the HTML code in a more pretty way. And if I go ahead and run this, you can see that we see the HTML content that is exactly the same like what we saw in the home.html. So we have done a great job until now. So let's minimize back our terminal. And now we are going to get...
What's the difference I see here? I see levels.
So that will content of that file here. So the way you can accomplish that to prettify my HTML and work with its tags like Python objects. So the way you can accomplish that will be by creating an instance of Beautiful Soup. And I will go here and create a new variable. Let's call it soup. And that is going to be equal to a new instance of the Beautiful Soup library. Now, the arguments that I'm going to specify here will be the HTML file that I want to scrape. So the content of that will be the content variable that is created up above. And then the second argument will be the parser method that we want to use. So we will pass the parser method as string, and that will be the LXML that we have just installed previously. Now, once I go ahead and try to print what is inside that soup instance, it will be something like the following. So we will create here a print statement, and then we will go with soup.prettify. So that will allow you to see the HTML code in a more pretty way. And if I go ahead and run this, you can see that we see the HTML content that is exactly the same like what we saw in the home.html. So we have done a great job until now. So let's minimize back our terminal. And now we are going to get more familiar with the special methods that are created inside the Beautiful Soup library. So we are going to delete the print from here, and we are going to start working how we can grab some specific information that we want to grab. So let's assume that we want to grab all the HTML tags that are created as h5 tags, which is a kind of header tag. So we will go here and create a new variable. Let's call it tags, for example. And then we will go with soup.find. And then once I go with find, it is going to search for the specific HTML tag that I'm going to specify here as a string. So if I go here and write h5, and then down below I go ahead and print the tags, the results of that will be something like the following. Now you can see that we have the entire HTML tag for the h5 tag. As you can see that its text is Python for beginners. But if you remember, we have more than one h5 tags that are created inside our home HTML tag. So if you remember from the home file, there is one here, there is the second one over there, and there is the third one over there. And what that means, it means that the find method searches for the first element and then it stops the execution of searching for the HTML tag that you are looking for. Now, if you want to change this behavior and not only grab the first element, then basically you have to change your method into find underscore all. Okay, so that will search for all the h5 tags inside the content. And now if I go ahead and run that out, then you can see that the result here is quite different, as we have here a list. And then you can see that it has Python for beginners, and then also Python web development, and then also the Python machine learning. Now, that will be a great logic to bring you back all the courses names from that web page. So you can go here and change this into courses HTML tags. Okay, so this is what the h5 tags are actually responsible for. And now I can write here some different code that will allow me to see all the courses that are defined on our page. So we have Python for beginners, and then we have Python web development, and then we also have Python machine learning. So we can work with these courses HTML tags that stores all the h5 HTML tags and write a nice program that is going to display all the courses. So we can actually create here an iteration over the courses HTML tags because it has a list. So we will go here with for course in courses HTML tags, and then inside of that course tag that we are iterating, we can bring only the text attribute, which is going to display the course text itself. So it will be here course dot text. And now if I go ahead and run our program, then you can see that we have a nice output regarding all of the courses that are available from that page. So this could be a nice starter to understand how you can scrape a web page to grab some specific information you want. All right, so we were able to understand how we. Now, if I go ahead and run our program, then you can see that we have a nice output regarding all of the courses that are available from that page. So this could be a nice starter to understand how you can scrape a web page to grab some specific information you want. All right, so we were able to understand how we can apply some basic scraping to a web page, but when you are going to deal with real websites, the HTML code is not going to be quite friendly and simple like we had here. So in order to be able...
At this point, the only thing holds me from applying this to the website I want to scrape is it's a website. It's not an HTML file. I hope I learn it today in this course.
To access the HTML code behind the scenes of some page, we have to use the inspect of any browser. So let's say that you want to grab the price for each of the courses. So it makes sense to go with your mouse and hover to that button and then right click on it. And then you want to look for that inspect option. And once you open that out, you will have a new pane that is going to be opened. And then here we can see all the HTML code that is responsible to display what is going on the left pane. So you can see that we have here, let's make it a little bit more bigger. So that will be enough. And then you can see that we have here div class card 3 times, which is displaying all the different courses. Now, when you go over different HTML tags with your mouse, make it a little bit more big pane code that is responsible to display what is going on the left pane. So you can see that we have here, let's make it a little bit more bigger. So that will be enough. And then you can see that we have here div class card 3 times, which is displaying all the different.
I think he's using Chrome.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a special Python tutorial where we are going to learn how to perform. So we were able to understand how we can apply some basic scraping. So right click on it, open that out. You will have a new pane that is going to be opened. And then here we can see all the HTML code that is responsible to display what is going on the left pane. So you can see that we have here, let's make it a little bit more bigger. So that will be enough. And then you can see that we have here div class card 3 times, which is displaying all the different courses. Now, when you go over different HTML tags with your mouse, you can see that it is going to mark for you the HTML tag that is related to it. So it is a quite important behavior that we should understand. Now, let's say that we want to grab the price for that Python for beginners. So it makes sense to expand this tag and see what is inside. So I will go here and search for that button. And you can see that this A tag is actually responsible for that button itself. And then you can see that its text is start for $20. So the price information is right there and $20, and you can see Python for beginners. So it makes sense to expand this tag and see what is inside. So I will go here and search for that button, and you can see that this A tag
Mhm. it's here.
Is actually responsible for that button itself. And then you can see that its text is start for $20. So the price information is right there. And let's actually write a program that is going to search for that Python for beginners. And then we will grab the price for that course. And then we will be able to write a nice program that is going to include a list of all of the courses and then the prices for each one of them. So let's go back to PyCharm and write this program. So we will go here and delete everything from here. And the first step that we probably want to do is to be able to grab all the course cards. So it will be course underscore cards equals to soup dot find underscore all, because we probably are looking to bring us back all the cards. So this is why you have to use find all and not the find. And I'm going to search for the div tags. Now it could be much nicer if we could filter the div tags that we actually want to grab and store it inside our course cards. So if you noticed, let's go back to our courses page. And here, if I just expand back there all the div tags, you can see that there is something that is common for all the div tags. Their class is equal to card. So I can filter my div tags by this expression right there. So I go back to PyCharm and I will write here class equals to card. But now you can see that there is an error, and it is quite important behavior to understand. You have to apply here the underscore because the class is a built-in keyword in Python where you create Python classes. So that is why you have to add in to apply. I will write here common for all the our courses page. And here, if I just expand back, store it our courses page. And I will write an underscore you, and then the beautiful soup will understand that you are relating to the class of the HTML attribute. Okay, so it is important. Now, since we have all the course cards stored right in this variable, then we probably want to iterate over this list and then search for the course name and then the course price. So let's see how we can do that for each of our course cards. So we will start with for loop here, and that will be for course in course cards. And before we go ahead and write some more code inside our for loop, let's actually remind you what is inside each of our courses. And then you can see that we have h5 tags on each of our course cards, and it makes sense to access these specific h5 tags. So we can accomplish that by going here and then use the h5 tag as an attribute. So if I go ahead and press here dot h5 and rerun my program, then you can see that we were able to grab each of our h5 tags that are inside the course card. So it is a quite great thing. And now if I revert this back to course again and run that out, you can also see that inside our a tags, we have the text for start for $20, and that is repeated for all of our cards as well. So first of all, it makes sense to delete this again and write here something like course name equals to course dot h5, and then here we probably look for the text attribute of that h5 tag. So I will write here dot text, and then this course name will be responsible to store the text on each iteration. So it is great. And now I can go here and write course price. And then this time I will search for course.a because the a tag stores the information about the course price. So until now, if I go ahead and print the course name, and then I also go ahead and print the course price, then we will see the results like the following. So you can see that we have Python for beginners, and then we have the a tag itself. But in this case, we look for the text. If I go ahead and print the course name, and then I also go ahead and print the course price, then we will see the results like the following. So you can see that we have Python for beginners, and then we have the a tag itself. But in this case, we look for the text of that a tag as well. So I will minimize my terminal out. And excuse me for that, I will delete that from here and then search for the text attribute over here as well. And now I will run my program. And then you can see that we have Python for beginners. And then we have the text for each of our a tags. And now since we reached this stage, it might be a greater idea to print a sentence like Python for beginners costs $20. Okay, so the way we can do that is basically using the split method to access that last element of that text because the price is located as the last word. So it makes sense to go here with split, and then we will split it by the blank so we don't have to specify anything here. And we want to grab that last element. So we are looking for -1 index over here. And now if I run it, you can see that we have the price for each of our courses. And now it might be much nicer if we go ahead and use an F string to print a dynamic sentence for each of our courses. So we will go here with print, and then we will open an F string, and then we will access the course name. So it will be course underscore name. And then we will write costs, and then we want to display the course price. So it will be course underscore price. Now, if I run our program, then you can see that it displays a nice price. Now, so we will go here with print, and then we will open an F string, and then we will access the course name. So it will be course underscore name. And then we will write costs, and then we want to display the course price. So it will be course underscore price. Now, if I run our program, then you can see that it displays a nice
What?
information about each one of the courses. Now, if you underscore price, now if I run our program, then you can see that it displays a nice information about each one of the courses. Now, if you think about it, that is a quite nice behavior that we have applied here, because if you scrape a real website like Udemy, that keeps updating courses, then it might be a great idea to launch this program every certain amount of time. For example, each week, and then you have the ability to be aware about each of the courses that Udemy has updated on the web page that you scrape on. So this is a quite nice behavior that we were able to reach here. On this one, we are going to scrape real websites with the request library. So I'm going
Yes.
going to simulate this against a website that is going to search for job advertisements, and I'm going to bring all the jobs from a specific website that their main skill requirement is Python programming language. And I'm going to write a program that is going to pull the latest published job advertisements from a specific website. So it is going to be very interesting. So let's get started. All right, so one of the first things that we must do is to ensure that we have the request library installed. So I'm going to go down to my terminal, write in PyCharm, and I'm going to write here pip install request, just to make sure that I have the request library installed. Now, the output for myself could be different than yours because you may not have the request library, but since I already have that, you can see outputs like requirement already satisfied. Okay, so it is quite important. Now I'm going to minimize the terminal and right here import requests. So we want to make sure that you do that after the installation of this library. And the first thing that I'm going to do here is to use the get method of the request library. Now, what request library is doing behind the scenes, it is just requesting information from a specific website. So it is like a real person going to a website and requesting some information. Okay, so you can go with something like the following when it comes to request library. So it will be request dot get. So you want to get specific information from a website. And here we are going to provide an empty string for now, but later on we are going to complete this string with the URL that we are going to web scrape against it. And I'm going to assign this to a new variable and I will call it HTML text. So I'm going to make that to be equal to this entire statement. Now let's go to a web browser and look up for the website that is going to include some job ads. Okay, so this is timejobs.com and this website includes job posts about almost everything. So you can simply go down here and search for some skill that you own. And then this will search for you jobs that are requiring this specific skill in that position. Now, this video is recorded a couple days before when I uploaded it. So if you watch this video after a couple of months or even a year or two since the publish date, then there is a great chance that the HTML elements are going to be quite different. But the main point of this video is to teach you all the tools to pull information from a website just as you want. And then you can apply your own customizations and kind of doing a reverse engineering to the code that I'm going to write throughout this tutorial. Great, so let's go here and write Python. So I will receive only job posts about this programming language. And you can see that we have this job found over there, and we have a lot of jobs that are published. So my goal here in this tutorial would be to let's get this closed. So my goal in this tutorial will be to bring all the jobs that are posted a few days ago. So if I am zooming here in, then you can see that we have posted a few days ago for a couple of posts. But after I reach down here, we have posted 4 days ago. So this might mean that this job post is not the most updated. So I'm going to bring all the jobs and I'm going to condition my program to bring those elements with the posted few days ago text only. So let's go back to here. Now I'm going to bring this URL from here and I'm going to paste that in the empty string that we created inside the request.get. And once I have done that, what is going on inside this variable right now is simply the request code status. Okay, so if I'm going to print if I'm going to run this program, then we are going to see the results like the following. So 200 is the convention. Number in web that the request is done successfully. But in order to avoid the status code, we are going to go to here and I'm going to accept the text only. So I'm going to go here and then write dot text. Okay, so this is what we have to apply here in order to bring the HTML text of that specific page. And now it makes sense to leave this variable name as it is because it is storing the HTML text. And I'm going to rerun this program and we will probably receive a large information of HTML. So right now it is not quite relevant. And I'm going to make sense to the HTML text of that specific page here and then write dot text. Okay, so this is what we have to apply here in order to bring the HTML text of that specific page. And now it makes sense to leave this variable name as it is because it is storing the HTML text. And I'm going to rerun this program and we will probably receive a large information of HTML. So right now it is not quite relevant, but I just wanted to show you the results. So let's continue from here. Okay, so as you know, we are going to create a beautiful soup instance like we did in the previous episode. And I'm going to provide the HTML as the HTML text variable. So it will be soup equals to an instance of a beautiful soup. And right now it is not quite relevant, but I just wanted to show you the results. So let's continue from here. Okay, so as you know, we are going to create a beautiful soup instance like we did in the previous episode. And I'm going to provide the HTML as the HTML text variable. So it will be soup equals to an instance of a beautiful soup. And then I'm going to write here HTML text as my information that I want to scrape. And we are going to use the same parser again, like the previous episode. So it will be LXML. Now, once I have done that, it makes sense to go back to our page and see how we can grab only each paragraph from this website. So the white boxes are kind of a list of elements that this page has provided here. And I want to look for a C again, like the variable episode. And I'm going to provide the a loop in here. Okay, so I'm just as the like the previous episode, so it will be LXML. Now, once I have done that, it makes sense to go back to our page and see how we can grab only each paragraph from this website. So the white boxes are kind of a list of elements that this page has provided here. And I want to look for a method that is going to bring me all the job posts. So it makes sense to catch a certain element inside that post and right click on it and then click on inspect.
H3.
And once I have done that, we can see here, so I'm going to zoom in things a little bit. So we can see that the H3 class is pointing to that text over here. I know that the text is a little bit small here, but just you can see that it has a gray mark. And I'm going to go up here, and then you can see that those elements are opened up as well. So if I hover my mouse here, then you can see a green background wrapped in the article over here, I mean the paragraph. And then if I close that up, you can see that we have a lot of clear fix job dash px and something like that, that its name is the class. And our HTML element here is called li. So li stands for list, and then you can see that it is inside a ul tag. So this is standing for unordered list, and it is containing a lot of list. Our we have a mouse here, then you can see a green background wrapped in the article over here. You can see that those elements are opened up as well. So if I hover my mouse here, then you can see a green background wrapped in the article over here, I mean the paragraph. And then if I close that up, you can see that we have a lot of clear fix job dash px and something like that, that its name is the class. And our HTML element here is called li. So li stands for list, and then you can see that it is inside a ul tag. So this is standing for unordered list, and it is containing a lot of list tags inside that ul. So you can see once I close that, then the entire list of all the posts are marked with a blue background. So I'm going to search the element of li with that name of class. So I'm going to copy the name of the class here, and I'm going to go back to my PyCharm, and I'm going to write here jobs equals to soup dot find underscore all, and I'm going to search for all the LIs. And as the second argument, it makes sense to pass here class underscore equals to, and then inside that string, I'm going to paste that in the class name that we have copied from the page itself. So once I have done that, then we
Aa. Hoşkim. Johnny. İyi misin? Odadayım hoşgum, iyi misin? Bebeğim iyi misin diyeceğim sana. Bı yaptım. Neden bebeğim? Neden çıkardın sen? Ha. Aa dur bitsin de işim konuşuruz.
We will probably see the results of all the jobs in that page. Now, this doesn't mean that it is going to bring back all the 16,000 jobs, because you can see that this page is being paginated. So that means that it is going to bring the results only for the first page. So this is not going to take extremely long. Now, if I go back to here and paste the jobs, then let's see the result. Before we continue on, just to make sure that everything is okay. So we can see that we receive the results, and then we see that we have some company names, and I think that everything is quite great here. Now, in order to work with this scraping project, it makes sense to only work with only one job element. So I'm going to delete the underscore all from here. And what this means, it means that it is going to bring the first match that sees the li tag and then the class name as this string over here. So let's change this variable name just to job for now. Okay, just in order to develop our program slower, relying on only one job post. Okay, so once we've done that, we probably want to search for the company name of that specific job post. So I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to make things bigger over here. And now let's actually go here and try to inspect what is going on here again. So let me zoom that out. Great. Now I'm going to try to inspect this text over here again. And then we can see that it is inside the li tag for sure, but we can also see that it is inside an h3 tag, and it has the class name of job list comp name. So I'm going to search for that class in the entire page as well. But speaking about the entire page, so let's go to our PyCharm. You want to search for that specific element only inside the job itself, for class in the entire page as well. But speaking about the entire page, so let's go to our PyCharm. You want to search for that specific element only inside the job itself. So you see, it doesn't make sense to search for an h3 tag in the entire page again. So you can basically go with job.find besides soup.find, because we want to search for that h3 tag only inside our job. So if I go ahead and print the job here, then we can see that it only includes an HTML code about only one job. And I'm going to search for this h3 tag. So let's create here a new variable, and I'm going to call that company underscore name. And we are going to use job.find. And we are going to accept here as an argument the h3. And then this time the class underscore is going to be equal to whatever this h3 tag includes as the class name, which is the job list comp name. Now, to debug this out and to ensure that the results are great, we are going to print the company name. And then you can see that we receive this element back. And I'm going to use here the .text method just to bring back the text itself. Use here, you can see that we receive this element back. and I'm going to use here the that we receive this.
Hmm. Hmm.
This element back, and I'm going to use here the dot text method just
Because the first one is empty.
to bring back the text itself. Now, once I do that, we are going to see a weird result here. Now, you can see that we have some white spaces. So we kind of want to replace our white spaces with nothing. So in order to do this one, I'm going to go here and I'm going to use the replace method. And this trick is going to avoid having this not necessary white spaces. So I'm going to replace the spaces with nothing. So I'm going to just write here double quotes twice, I mean single quotes twice. And once I have done that and rerun our program, then you can see that the result is going to be quite different. As you can see, this text is fully aligned to left. Now let's minimize back and continue from here. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit the code here, just so we can see the replace method, and this trick is going to avoid having this with fully. Now I'm going to zoom out method, and let's continue from here. Now it also makes sense to bring the skill requirements other than the Python programming language, because we know that this job is only for people who are good with the Python programming language. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to repeat myself in the same process again, and I'm going to write here job.find. And we are probably looking for an element that is including a text about the skill requirements. So let's search for that. Okay, so let's go back to our website again. And I'm going to go here and check out what HTML element is including the skills. So we are talking about this one. So I'm going to inspect inside here. And we can see here that this text is inside a span class with the class name of SRP.
Hmm. Spend class price.
Skills. So I'm going to copy again this class name, and that time I'm going to search for the span elements inside my job post. So I'm going to go back to PyCharm again, and I'm going to write here span. So this is the HTML tag that we are searching for. And again, I'm going to write class underscore equals to that SRP dash skills. Now I want to ensure the results over here once again. So you always want to quickly print the results of whatever HTML element that you want to pull to see what other methods you have to apply to prettify your result. Okay, so let's run our program again. And it makes sense to delete the print company name. So let's re-execute our program. And then you can see here that we have some span tag, and then here we have a strong tag, which is basically created to make our text bold when we want to type in something. So I'm just going to guess here that I'm going to only write here dot text, and then I expect for the results to be fine. So let's check out for that. And then you can see here that the results are quite great. So we have the Python scripting, and then we have some more requirements that are divided with commas and a lot of white spaces again. So I'm going to apply the same method of dot replace. No. And then I expect for the results to be fine. So let's check out for that. And then you can see here that the results are quite common, like we did with the company name. So let's write here dot replace, and I'm going to replace white spaces with nothing. So let's re-execute that out. And then we can see that the result is quite like we want. And now we were also able to grab the skills as well. So this is quite nice. Now, if we want to display a nice information about the job until now, then we want to go with a nice print message here. So let's try to create a nice message. So we will use an F method here.
This can be empty.
And we will also use the triple quote method just to allow us to write some text in separated lines as well. And I'm going to write here company name like this. And then I'm going to write here company for nice. Yes, so we kind of receiving a nice information about the job. Go back to here. Then we want to search for one more element. So you remember that I told you that we only want to grab the job post with the text of posted a few days ago. So we forgo like a tag by going to go to the here again with job underscore is going to be equal to the text that that I just copied. And I'm going to repeat myself with just avoid printing what the pub something. We have also one more span inside of the text of it. So what that means, it means that we have to take some different action than what we did previously. So this time I want to search for the attribute of span just to get inside that tag over here. And then right after it, I want to look for the text of that span tag. So this will give me the published date of this specific job. But I'm not going to include the published date inside my print message because we only want the published date for the functionality to stop our execution if the published date text is not including the word of few. And I'm going to code this functionality just in a second, so you will see what I mean by what I said. To bring me, then all I can do and change this variable name to as name.
Small pause.